Srimad Bhagavatam 5, Canto 5, Chapter 1, Text 12. न तस्य कश्चित् तपसा विद्यया वा न योगवीर्येण मनीषया वा नैवार्थधर्मैः परतः स्वतो वा कृतं विहन्तुं तनुभृद्विभूयात्। Na, never, tasya, his, kaschit, anyone, tapasa, by austerity, vidyaya, by education, va, or, na, never, yoga, by power of mystic yoga, viryena, by personal strength, manishaya, by intelligence, va, or, never, no, never, eva, certainly, artha, by material opulence, dharmaihi, by the power of religion, parataha, by any external power, svataha, by personal endeavor, va, or, kritam, the order, vihantum, to avoid, tanubhrit, a living entity who has accepted a material body, vibhuyat, is able. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. One second, let me just check the mic. Hare Krishna. Okay. So, translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation: one cannot avoid the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, not by the strength of severe austerities, an exalted Vedic education, or the power of mystic yoga, physical prowess, or intellectual activities. Nor can one use his power of religion, his material opulence, or any other means, either by himself or with the help of others, to defy the orders of the Supreme Lord. That is not possible for any living being, from Brahma down to the ant. Please repeat. One cannot avoid the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, not by the strength of severe austerities, an exalted Vedic education, or by the power of mystic yoga, physical prowess, or intellectual activities. Nor can one use his power of religion, his material opulence, or any other means, either by himself or with the help of others, to defy the orders of the Supreme Lord. That is not possible for any living being, from Brahma down to the ant. Purport. In the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad 3.8.9, Yajnavalkya says to Gargi, the daughter of Gargamuni, Etasya va aksharasya prashasane Gargi surya chandramasau vidhritau tishthatah. My dear Gargi, everything is under the control of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Even the sun, the moon, and the other controllers and demigods like Lord Brahma and King Indra are all under his control. An ordinary human being or animal who has accepted a material body cannot go beyond the jurisdiction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead's control. A material body includes senses. However, the sense activities of so-called scientists who try to be free from God's law or the laws of nature are useless. This is also confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 7, text 14. Mama Maya Duratyaya. It is impossible to surpass the control of material nature, for the Supreme Personality of Godhead is working behind it. Sometimes we are proud of our austerities, penances, and mystic yogic powers, but it is clearly stated herein that one cannot surpass the laws and directions of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, either by dint of mystic power, a scientific education, or austerities and penances. It is impossible. The word Manishaya, by intelligence, is of special significance. Priyavrata might argue that Lord Brahma was requesting him to accept family life and the responsibility for ruling a kingdom, although Narad Muni had advised him not to enter household life and be entangled in material affairs. Whom to accept would be a puzzle for Priyavrata because both Lord Brahma and Narad Muni are authorities. Under the circumstances, the use of the word Manishaya is very appropriate, for it indicates that since both Narad Muni and Lord Brahma are authorized to give instruction, Priyavrata should neglect neither of them, but should use his intelligence to follow the advice of both. To solve such dilemmas, Srila Rupa Goswami has given a very clear conception of intelligence. He says, Anasaktasya vishayan yatharham upayunjataha nirbandha krishna sambandhe yuktam vairagyam uchyate. Vishayan, material affairs, should be accepted without attachment, and everything should be dovetailed with the service of the Lord. That is real intelligence, Manisha. Becoming a family man or king in the material world is not harmful if one accepts everything for Krishna's service. That necessitates clear intelligence. Mayavadi philosophers say, Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya. This material world is false and only the absolute truth is real. However, an intelligent devotee in the line of Lord Brahma and the great sage Narada, or in other words, in the Brahma Sampradaya, does not consider this world false. That which is created by the Supreme Personality of Godhead cannot be false, but using it for enjoyment is. Everything is meant to be enjoyed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 5.29. Bhoktaram yajna tapasam sarvaloka maheshwaram. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is the Supreme Proprietor and Enjoyer, and therefore everything should be dovetailed for His enjoyment and service. Regardless of one's circumstances, favorable or unfavorable, one should use everything to serve the Supreme Lord. That is the perfect way to use one's intelligence. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे. So it's a very nice verse. Natasya kaschit tapasa vidyaya va na yoga viryena manishaya va naivartha dharmaihi paratah svato va kritam vihantum tanubhrid vibhuyat. So tapasya, vidya, yoga, virya, manisha, artha, dharma, parata, svata, all these, kritam means by the action of. So all these are meant for the service of the Lord. Dharma, artha, kama, moksha, it's all meant to serve the Lord. Ultimately moksha and even higher than that is prema. Prema pumartho mahan. Chatur purusharthas, dharma, artha, kama, moksha. And dharma refers to religious activities which are regulated, any religious activities, but mostly in the karma kanda section, in the pravritti marga. And then there is artha, there is kama, and finally there is moksha. And that is usually the known Chatur Purusharthas, 4 goals of human life. But Panchama Purushartha, which is the Prema Pumartho Mahan. So this is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's philosophy, that Prema, love of Godhead, is even above moksha. And that is actually the real achievement of human being. So, everything, every asset, all this tapasya, vidya, yoga, virya, manisha, artha, dharma, parata means with the help of others, svata means one's own endeavor, all these are assets that we have in our life. We can take advantage of these things, facilities that Krishna has given. But the end goal should be how to samsiddhir haritoshanam atah pumbir dvijasreshtha varnashrama vibhagasaham svanushthitasya dharmasya samsiddhir haritoshanam. So it's a very important verse, 1, 2, 13. O best among the twice born, it is therefore concluded that the highest perfection one can achieve by discharging the duties prescribed for one's own occupation according to caste divisions and orders of life is to please the personality of Godhead. So that is the end goal, to please Krishna. They are not meant for being puffed up and then disobey the orders of Krishna. So we can, let's see another verse also. This is also Prabhupada quoted many times. What is that? Vishnu Puran. Varnashrama acharavata. Purushena parah puman. Vishnuraradhyate pantha nanyat tattosha karanam. The full verse is, this thing. See, Vishnuraradhyate pantha. Varnashrama acharavata. The duties of Varnashram dharma, they are all, and any duties, anything that we are, endeavor that we are doing, Purushena parah puman. Vishnuraradhyate pantha nanyat tattosha na anyat. It is not to satisfy anyone else. Tattosha karanam. Only to satisfy Vishnu, na anyat. Only Vishnura aradhyate pantha. It has to be accepted in the Vishnura aradhanam, in the worship of Vishnu. That should be the usage, the principle of usage. Everything should be used only for that end. If it's used for anything else, that is actually Maya or Vaibhav. It is an opulence of Maya. Jadavidya jatam Maya or Vaibhav. Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, material education is a opulence of Maya, to illusion, to disillusion the living entities. So it becomes an hindrance. You see, here Brahma is saying that we cannot at any time we cannot use these assets to defy the order of the Supreme Lord. It's interesting because that's exactly what happens when we get a little bit power in any of these things. See, Kunti Devi, 26. Kunti Devi says, Janmaishwarya Shruta Shribhir Edhamana Madah Puman Naivarhatya Abhidhatum Vai Tvam Akinchana Gocharam. My Lord, your Lordship can easily be approached, but only by those who are materially exhausted. Because one who is on the path of material progress, trying to improve himself with respectable parentage, great opulence, high education and bodily beauty, cannot address you with sincere feeling. This is the usual result when we get these assets. We tend to defy, we tend to revel in our own so-called capacities that we have actually been bestowed upon by the Lord. It's rented. We're sitting on rented premises and, showing off as if it's our property. Sometimes nowadays the scam artists, they do this. It is, internet gurus. Oh, I'll give you some business model, you can become rich. Therefore, their videos, the way they put their advertisement is that, they will hold one phone and, in front of some big villa, some huge car, some very expensive car. They said, how I bought this, they will say something, and this is how I became rich, and you can also become rich, and, they just, rent for one day, 1 hour or something, pay some few $100 or $1,000, and then show as if they are the owner of this property. So, we are like that. We are sitting on rented premises, given by the Lord for a time being, for some time. And then we claim it as our own. When somebody praises, actually one time, one Mataji, she's not here, she's not exactly a devotee, one lady, she said, she told me that, Prabhu, you sing very nicely. I said, it's all, it's Krishna's, whatever. Then she said, no, that's not how you should respond. You should say thank you. When somebody gives you a compliment, you should say thank you. So that's how you should respond. I said, Mataji, if it was my own property, yeah, I would say. But if that gift is given by Krishna, then how can I claim as if it's my own? It's Krishna's. So she always tries to say that you're a nice fellow, but you need to be refined a little bit. When you talk, you're a bit too crude or unrefined. Because when we speak straight facts. Sometimes it's hurting to the other person, like material attachment. These things we speak about detachment. So they they don't like, and she feels, and some materialistic people, they feel that we should be a little more, cushioning that whole effect, not a hard punch, put some gloves and a little bit, give a softer punch. But the statements of Shastra are not like that actually. How much ever you want to cushion it or package it in a different way, the truth actually cannot be changed. And ultimately, at one point, one has to face that in life. When somebody passes away, then that's a rude awakening, right? I mean, that attachment, these relationships won't last forever. But if we say that in the class, all these are temporary, your family is actually not your own. Hey, how can you say like that? When somebody dies, then is he your own? Then keep them. If you have any power within you to keep, if it's within your power to keep that person, keep. You can't. That's a rude awakening. That is not yours. When we say it, that's rude. So, facts have to be presented as they are, however unpalatable that they may be. And that is the business of a sadhu. Sadhu actually speaks the truth, which will appear bitter to the materialist. He is reveling in this whole in this material world. For him, it is always not palatable. But that's what we have to say. So she used to say that, you are a bit crude. I will teach you some manners, then you will be perfect. I said, I don't need to learn anything from you. Thank you. You need to learn a lot from here. You don't understand anything at all. Zero. First of all, read Prabhupada's books. You're not reading anything. That's why your talking is like this rubbish. So she said, you should say thank you. Why I should say thank you? Should I feel good that, singing is good, or, like giving class is good, or this is good, or that is good? Then if I take the credit for that, then when somebody insults me also, I will be affected in the same way. Tulya ninda stutir mauni santushto yena kenachit. Krishna says, Tulya ninda stutir mauni. Stuti means praise and ninda means insult. How can one be tulya? Equal in both. I should not take the praise seriously, and I should not take the criticism seriously. I mean, especially if it is done by somebody who is not qualified. If somebody is qualified and does it, we have to take especially the criticism, not the praise so much, criticism seriously. And if any praise is at all offered, that immediately has to be offered back to the spiritual master and Krishna. That is how we are trained. And that is, it's not just we are trained, we are programmed in such a way. You see, you are all programmed. No. That's the proper way to show gratitude. It belongs to, what is it Bhaktivinoda Thakur say? Gurudev, that song. I have no qualifications of my own. The mercy of the spiritual master is everything. So even if we do have something, it has to be used in Krishna's service under the guidance of the spiritual master. So, just like this tapasa, vidyayava and all these things, there is another verse, 11 to 36 of Bhagavatam. Kayena vacha manasendriyairva buddhyatmana vanusrutasvabhavat karoti yadyat sakalam parasmai narayana yeti samarpayetat. A similar verse is there in the Vishnu Sahasranam also. So, this is from Bhagavatam 11 to 36. So the meaning is, in accordance with the particular nature one has acquired in conditioned life, whatever one does with body, words, mind, senses, intelligence or purified consciousness, one should offer to the Supreme, thinking, this is for the pleasure of Lord Narayana. So again, samsiddhir haritoshanam. So whatever assets we have, there's another verse also, same way. Idam hi pumsastapasah shrutasya va svishtasya suktasya cha buddhidattayoh avichutorthah kavibhir nirupito yaduttama shloka gunanuvarnanam. Again, learned circles have positively concluded that the infallible purpose of the advancement. Again, the advancement of all these assets. Maybe can close the door because I think it's the infallible purpose of the advancement of knowledge, namely austerity, study of the Vedas, sacrifice, chanting of the hymns, and charity, culminates in the transcendental descriptions of the Lord, who is defined in choice poetry. So all these assets must be used in Krishna's service, in the glorification of the Lord, because they are gifts from the Lord in the first place, and they are meant for His service. But this is what happens when a materialist gets any of these favors. He uses it against the devotees and against the Lord. He becomes intoxicated with such power, and he uses it against the very purpose that he is supposed to be using it for. So that's what Brahma is saying. By all these things you cannot defy the orders of the Supreme Lord. Now one may try to defy. There is actually facility to defy. There is not a wall that you cannot defy. You can. But just that there will be consequences. For example, what I am saying is that the nature's laws or the Lord's laws can be attempted to be defied, at least to an extent. But the consequences of it are very drastic. So, if there is a wall, for example, traffic going this way and that way. Now there is a divider. So even in one way, there are lanes, there are lines drawn, and then you have to keep within the lane. And there are rules how you have to switch between lanes and everything like that. So those are the rules. You can break them at your own peril, though. So there is not walls, like this lane is one, walls here, and then you can go in this lane, and then walls here, and you can. It's not that you cannot cross over to the other lane. You can. Or even the divider, you can mount the curb and go to the other side. You can. There's no wall there. But there are rules. Don't do that. But you can if you want. But at the expense of our own life or at the life of others. So the risk is there. So if we attempt to defy, then there is consequence. So with scientific advancement, the scientists are trying to, nowadays they use this, try to use this word, some people are using. Yesterday only I saw a whole video advertisement of a course, how to bend reality. I think some of you can guess who is that person speaking. Vishen. Yes, you got it right. So they try to bend reality. So this is what they're already doing. They're already trying to do. For example, Krishna has empowered the woman to be able to give birth to a child. Now they want to bend that reality, saying that no, we can choose whether we want to give birth or not. And they try to interfere with the laws and then kill the baby in the womb. And they say, oh, we have achieved something. So with their so-called scientific advancement, they have only trying to go against, they're trying to defy the orders or the laws of the Lord. Manishaya and Vidyaya, whatever little bit they know, they use that to go against. They go a little bit, nuclear, okay, destroy. Nothing constructive. They show some constructive things here and there, but the vast majority was on the destructive side. And so-called construction will lead to future destructive reactions. So there is actually no constructive things. And they will use it to destroy. And then now they will set up an altruistic program countering the destruction or potential destruction, climate change, anti-climate change, big charities, clean the oceans. $30 million raised in 30 days. What is that? Teamseas.org. Cleaning the oceans. $30 million in 30 days they raised. Not even less than that. So, a big impact. I want to be of impact. First of all, spoil the thing and now clean it up. Oh, that is a big thing. There's no progress at all. I mean, there's no. You're dirting the thing, and what are you doing with? Just yesterday I was watching another video on what is that called? These electric cars. Why they are a scam? Because after all, the electricity is produced somewhere, and that is being produced with fossil fuels. It's just a displaced pollution. Smoke doesn't come out from the car, but it comes out somewhere else. That's all. It's just displaced pollution, and in fact, the amount of fuel necessary for 1 kilometer of this car going, compared to the combusting engine, and then the electric vehicle, and the fuel required to produce such electricity, it is more fuel to produce such electricity for 1 kilometer than a car with 1 kilometer with the fuel. So, actually kind of counterproductive. And of course it depends on which country you are, from which is the source of the electricity. But in vast majority, I mean, because the power is being generated by this kind of methods, so it's there's a problem there. So with so-called advancement, we bring about a lot, and especially this capitalism. Capitalism is just exploitation. Profits are the only thing that matters, and then you do anything to get those profits, and it all ends up in just exploitation. So that is not in the civilized way of life. Now the Western influence is like that, but actually our Vedic culture, Eastern cultures have actually been existing for far longer than the Western cultures. Until over 1400, 1500, 1600, they were just some peasants in the Europe, and that's all they were. They were not really anybody. They were almost like barbarians. Then they got some power, and then they now rule the world with all barbaric ideologies. So and that has become the norm. Kali Yuga, that has become this thing. So with all our scientific advancement, we are not supposed to oppose. But that's exactly what happens. Just now we saw that Kunti Devi is saying that these things, Janmaishwarya Shrutashri will go against. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, Jada Vidya Jata Mayar Vaibhav, Tumare Bhajana Badha. It is an obstacle in your service. You see? And I think there is right 26, 1 second. जन्म कर्म वयोरूप विद्यैश्वर्य धनादिभिः यद्यस्य न भवेत् स्तंभस्तत्रायं मदनुग्रहः. 8:22-26. If a human being is born in an aristocratic family or a higher status of life, if he performs wonderful activities, if he is youthful, if he has personal beauty, a good education and good wealth, and if he is nonetheless not proud of his opulences, it is to be understood that he is especially favored by the Supreme Personality of God. So this is the thing. So these opulences which are bestowed upon a certain living entity due to his past karma, or by the mercy of the Lord, causeless mercy of the Lord, they are always the assets of the Lord. But in order not to be proud of such assets, we also need the mercy of the Lord. So next verse 8:20-27. Manastambha nimittanam janmadinam samantatah sarvashreyah pratipanam hanta muhyannamatparah. Although aristocratic birth and other such opulences are impediments to advancement in devotional service because they are causes of false prestige and pride, these opulences never disturb a pure devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So here Brahma is giving an instruction that Priyavrata, I know you are very austere, you are very knowledgeable, everything, but these shouldn't be used against the Lord. It should be used in the service of the Lord, to fulfill the order of the Lord. And the order of the Lord is, he will say. Just like Arjuna was very qualified in many respects, but he should use that in the service of the Lord. That would be the crowning glory of that art, whatever we have achieved. Otherwise, it is just a bunch of zeros. Every material asset is a zero. Another material asset is another zero, another zero, another zero. You put 100 zeros, you put together is zero only. But if there is a 1 on the left, then it becomes exponentially valuable. So the value, they get those values because of Krishna. That's why it is said, when Krishna wears ornaments, the ornaments are beautified by Krishna, not Krishna is beautified by the ornaments. So that is the understanding. So everything becomes beautified by Krishna. Krishna is the ornament of ornaments. So even there is this verse in the Mukundamala Stotra. Bhaktapaya bhujanga garudamanis trailokya rakshamanir gopilochana chatakambudamani saundarya mudramani yah kantamani rukmini ghanakucha dvandvaika bhushamani shreyo deva shikhamanir dishatuno gopala chudamani. Money means a gem, jewel. So many times money is used here. He is the jewel riding on the back of Garuda. So Garuda is beautified by the Lord. Not that the Lord looks majestic because of Garuda. No, the Lord looks majestic as he is always. Of course, all the paraphernalia makes, it's majestic. He's always majestic. But the paraphernalia becomes majestic because of the Lord. The Lord is the jewel riding on the back of Garuda, who carries away the Lord's devotees on his wings. He is the magic jewel protecting the three worlds, the jewel-like cloud attracting the Chataka bird eyes of the gopis, and the jewel among all who gesture gracefully. He is the only jeweled ornament on the ample breasts of Queen Rukmini. That is closed, cannot open now. He is the only jeweled ornament on the ample breasts of Queen Rukmini, who is herself the jewel of beloved consorts. May the crown jewel of all gods, the best of the cowherds, grant us the supreme benediction. So he is the jewel, he is the medicine, he is the, what is the other one? Mantra. So there is a nice thing written in the purport of 32. Here, my colleague Gopi Pranadana Prabhu, I think the team of Prabhupada disciples translating this Mukundamala Stotra. So he said, Gopi Pranadana Prabhu notes, money, mantra and aushadha, jewels, mantras and medicine are often grouped together by Vedic philosophers as examples of things in this world that have achintya shakti. Like aushadha, like this Sanjivani, in Ramayana we have the example. So there are herbs which are magical, miraculous properties. There are mantras with miraculous properties, and there are jewels. That's why this Navaratna and all this. They put this some gemstones to counteract something. But of course it is there. It is not that it's entirely not true. There are some miraculous properties of gems, like Samantaka jewel had its miraculous property. So there are gems like that. Of course, if I do stupid things, if I put a gem, so but they do have, if we follow certain regulations. So mani, mantra and aushadha have achintya shakti. So here in these three verses, 30, 31 and 32, 30 is about money, Krishna being the money or the jewel, and then in the 31 is mantra and 32 is the aushadha. So in that way, they were grouped together by King Kulashekar. So, Krishna is the um, soul of whatever asset that is there. So, all if our vidya and everything, if that is employed in Krishna's service, then that vidya that we have achieved has its glory. Then it becomes beautified. Like Arjuna's archery would have gone in vain if he did not fight the battle of Kurukshetra under the order of Krishna. What is the use of being an archer? That's. But because he used it in Krishna's service, although he was not as great an archer as Bhishma Dev, he was a greater hero than Bhishma in history because of his usage in Krishna. So Krishna became the jewel, the crown jewel of his achievements. He won the battle against all these big invincible warriors. And even if he did not win, still it would have been glorious. Like Jatayu, he didn't win the war. He employed all his strength, but did not. He died. Not only Jatayu, there are millions of Vanaras who also died. Right? But all of them got the blessings of Krishna, Ramchandra Bhagwan. So, and of course their liberation is assured. So, that is the perfection of all skills, all talents, all assets and everything. But those who are materially intoxicated, what is that? 10, 88, 11. Demigod worshippers, for example. It's mentioned just now, in one of the today's verse, dharma, naivartha dharmaihi, paratah svatova. So, naiva artha, naeva artha dharmaihi. So, dharma. So, our dharma or religious duties also should not be against the Lord. But you see, the demigods, they follow some religious things to get, religious rituals to get the favor of the demigods, but this is what happens. Ato mam sudurarardhyam hitvanyan bhajate janah tatasta ashutoshebhyo labdharajya shriyodhatah mattah pramatta varadan vismayantyavajanate. Because I am difficult to worship, people generally avoid me and instead worship other deities who are quickly satisfied. When people receive kingly opulences from these deities, they become arrogant, intoxicated with pride, and neglectful of their duties. They dare to offend even the demigods who have bestowed benedictions upon them. And they, of course, certainly offend the devotees. In fact, that verse is there. What is that verse? Offend the devotees. They offend my devotees. I think so. They dare to offend my... No, they offend my devotees. Let's see. Let's search for offend my devotees. Is that so? Yeah. What is that? Is it in the Ambarish Maharaj thing? So they dare to offend the devotees with all that intoxicated pride that comes with all these assets. Now today's world is a classic example of a result of such a 1157. They mock the devotees. Okay, so This is the other one. Vedic studies and become idiots after that. Rajasa ghora sankalpaha kamuka ahimanyavaha dambhika maninah papa vihasantyachyuta priyan. Yes, this is the verse. Due to the influence of the mode of passion, the materialistic followers of the Vedas become subject to violent desires. Violent desires. And are excessively lusty. Their anger is like that of a snake. Deceitful, overly proud, and sinful in their behavior, they mock the devotees who are dear to Lord Achyuta. So you see, so these are using the dharma and vidya against the Lord. And tapasya, like Durvasa Muni, he had tapasya, power of tapasya, but he used against Ambrish Maharaj. 4:31:21. What is that? Kumanishinam saijyam na bhajati kumanishinam saijyam hariradhanatmadhana priyo rasagnya shrutadhana kula karmanam madhairye vidadhati papam akinchaneshu satsu. The Supreme Personality of Godhead becomes very dear to those devotees who have no material possessions but are fully happy in possessing the devotional service of the Lord. Indeed, the Lord relishes the devotional activities of such devotees. Those who are puffed up with material education, wealth, aristocracy, and fruitive activity are very proud of possessing material things, and they often deride the devotees. Very good. This is very good verse. Even if such people offer the Lord worship, the Lord never accepts them. So this is the thing. So these extraordinary powers are meant to serve the Lord. So if one at all has anything, it has to be humbly offered back in Krishna's service, knowing well that it is Krishna who has given this, and let me just use it back for Krishna's service under the guidance of the spiritual master. Sarvalabdharpanena cha. Use it again. One point there is that take for example Kunti Devi herself. She said this in her prayers. Tatha paramahamsanam muninam amalatmanam bhakti yoga vidhanartham katham pashyemahi striyaha. Now she is, of course, talent is an understatement. I mean, she is an aunt of Krishna. She is the aunt of Krishna. Talents, these are all smaller things, but her relationship with Krishna is so close, so intimate. You yourself descend to propagate the transcendental science of devotional service under the hearts of the advanced transcendentalists and mental speculators who are purified by being able to discriminate between matter and spirit. How then can we women know you perfectly? So she is addressing herself as a less intelligent being, a woman. But you see, she is of course qualified. She can say, I am very qualified, I will use all my talents in Krishna's service. How to use also has to be known. We cannot defy the orders of the Supreme Lord. If I want to serve Krishna, what is the motive in such service? Do I want to be known as a talented servitor? In which case I am just serving my own pride, or I just want to serve the Lord according to His wishes. So she did not deviate from the established social position and how Krishna created. That women are less intelligent than men. She did not defy that or deny that just because she was intelligent. She was intelligent. I mean, how can you be not intelligent? As I said many times, sannyasis, everybody have to learn from her prayers. Big philosophers, they have to learn from her prayers how to become a philosopher. So she is of course more intelligent than anybody. She is capable of becoming the spiritual master of the entire universe. Still, she did not accept that position. She did not complain that, oh, I have a talent, I am so devoted, see Krishna is my, nephew, so I will become spiritual master. She did not. Still she did not. So she kept in her lane. Why? To teach others. So, of course, she is a role model for men and women alike. So, that's why they don't, even though they can easily transgress all this. She is not actually bound by that rule that, woman cannot become a spiritual master or something like that. No. She is more than qualified. She does not have to follow that rule. But, like gopis, nobody can match them. They are the spiritual masters of the entire universe. Universes. They are capable. But they just kept, in their lane to show examples, because if such exemplary women do not set an example, then whom will the others take as a role model and follow and actually rise in that platform, rise to that platform? A pure devotee is not under the jurisdiction of the Shastric injunctions, but he nevertheless still follows to set example and guide others by his example. So, even if we got everything, but still we have to do it within the precincts within the boundaries of Krishna's instruction, not again defying that again. So that's how we should conduct ourselves. Sarvalabdha, that's why it is how to know whether we are within the precincts or not. That's why it is easy if we just follow the orders of the spiritual master. Guru Shushrūshaya Bhaktya Sarvalabdharpanena Cha Sangena Sadhu Bhaktanam Ishvararadhanena Cha Shraddhaya Tatkathayam Cha Kirtanairguna Karmanam Tatpadamburuhadhyana Tallingeksharhanadibhim. So Sarvalabdha Arpanena Cha, that's actually what I wanted to point to. One must accept the bona fide spiritual master and render service unto him with great devotion and faith. Whatever one has in one's possession should be offered to the spiritual master. Of course, the rest of it also goes. But whatever one has in one's possession, it's not only one's possession means money. We have all these skills and talents and whatever we have, experience, whatever we have to use it in Krishna's service. But now that doesn't mean that unless we have these skills, we cannot use it in the service of the Lord. So first of all, I must acquire the skills and then I will use it in the service of the Lord. No. Actually, it's not that because of the skill the service becomes successful. No. It's because of our service attitude that Krishna allows our skill to become successful. Because there is this, you see, in the Bhagavad Gita, in the first chapter, if you see this verse, Duryodhana's calculations. Aparyaptam tadasmakam balam bhishma bhirakshatam paryaptam tvidam etesham balam bhima bhirakshitam. You see, he is analyzing the strength of both the armies just before the fight, Duryodhana. And he is saying, our strength is immeasurable and we are perfectly protected by grandfather Bhishma, whereas the strength of the Pandavas, carefully protected by Bhima, is limited. So with limited strength, limited sophistication, they overcame the unlimited, immeasurable. So the skill itself, the strength itself is not the cause, it's the sanction of the Lord. That does not mean, so the only thing we have to have is a very ardent desire to serve the Lord with whatever we have got, whatever we have. It may not be very sophisticated. But if we can apply sophistication, if we have within our capabilities, we should. Because trying our best always means trying our best. So what is best that we can do within our thing, and if there is room for improvement, we should definitely, it's not that, Krishna accepts our bhava, so I'll just do a scrappy job and some stupid endeavor and Krishna will make it successful. No, that is not. We should do our best within our means, and how to stretch our intelligence, how to stretch our whatever capacities we have to serve the Lord. Hmm. And then depend on the Lord for the rest. That's all. So, it is patram pushpam phalam toyam, yes, but that is just to give the facility for the poorest man. But if I have riches, I have to use them. I cannot say, oh, Krishna asked for this much, so that is enough. One flower, billionaire, offering one flower. So, that is not the proper way. So, the spiritual strength, because Krishna's sanction, Jayastu Panduputranam Yesham Pakshe Janardana. The victory was there for the Pandavas because Krishna was on their side. And Krishna will be on our side if we wholeheartedly serve the Lord. And therefore, in this verse, तेनीकपारगुपतेरभिपत्य सर्वे द्वन्द्वं वरूथमिभपत्तिरथाश्वयोधैः जघ्नुर्द्रुमैर्गिरिगदेषुभिरङ्गदाद्याः सीताभिमर्शहतमङ्गलरावणेशान्. Srimad Bhagavatam 9:10-20. Angada and other commanders of the soldiers of Ramachandra faced the elephants, infantry, horses and chariots of the enemy and hurled against them big trees, mountain peaks, clubs and arrows. Thus the soldiers of Lord Ramachandra killed Ravana's soldiers who had lost all good fortune because Ravana had been condemned by the anger of Mother Sita. So, here in the purport, Prabhupada mentions, the soldiers Lord Ramachandra recruited in the jungle were all monkeys and did not have proper equipment with which to fight the soldiers of Ravana. For Ravana's soldiers were equipped with weapons of modern warfare, whereas the monkeys could only throw stones, mountain peaks and trees. It was only Lord Ramachandra and Lakshman who shot some arrows. But because the soldiers of Ravana were condemned by the curse of Mother Sita, the monkeys were able to kill them simply by throwing stones and trees. There are two kinds of strength. Daiva and Purushakara. Daiva refers to the strength achieved from the transcendence, and Purushakara refers to strength organized by one's own intelligence and power. Transcendental power is always superior to the power of the materialist. And depending on the mercy of the Supreme Lord, one must fight one's enemies even though one may not be equipped with modern weapons. Therefore, Krishna instructed Arjuna, Mam Anusmara Yudhyacha, think of me and fight. We should fight our enemy to the best of our ability, but for victory we must depend on the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, should we add sophistication to our service? By all means, yes. But the center should be service, and not depending on the sophistication, but using all the sophistication nevertheless. Arjuna was not he was the greatest archer. He was not that he was a lightweight person. He was actually the greatest archer almost. I mean, of course, Bhishma Dev was there, Karna was there. But otherwise, he was highly qualified. I mean, Lord Shiva himself, appreciated his archery. So, it is not that Arjuna was a peasant and he suddenly fought all these invincible warriors. No, certainly he was perfectly trained. So, of course, there is all endeavor to gain that military power. But then it was used in Krishna's service. And that becomes a successful factor, the factor that caused his success. So, I would like to stop here. Any questions or comments? And here also he's saying something, which means in this case he's saying something against, seemingly against the Vedic. No, the Vedic education, just now we have read that verse 11.5.7, is it? That one. So the Karmakanda section, all these demigod worshippers, that is also part of the Vedas. So, and Vedavada Rataha, these people, they think that is the only end. You see? The materialistic, due to the influence of the mode of passion, the materialistic followers of the Vedas become subject to violent desires and are excessively lusty. Their anger is like that of a snake, deceitful, overly proud and sinful in their behavior. They mock the devotees who are dear to Lord Achyuta. So they're into this, but Vedas, but they don't understand the goal of the Vedas. Vedascha sarvair ahameva vedya. That they don't understand. So they get lost, you know. That's why it is said like that. So any other? Hmm? Hmm. No, it is said. No. It is said that from Brahma down to the ant, nobody can defy the orders of the Supreme Lord. Whether by strength of all these things, one cannot defy. One can attempt to defy, but then he will suffer the consequences only. So, one should not defy. One should not deny or defy the Lord and His orders. I'll see if there are any other questions or comments on the online. Can relate to? Yes. That whole 8 verses together. Yadyad ishtatamam loke yachchati priyam atmanah tantan nivedayen mahyam tadanantyaya kalpate. You said which one? It's similar to 7:30. Yeah. So ishtatamam, if I like something, and tamam means the thing I like most. Ishta, tamam means superlative. Taram means comparative. So whatever is most desired by one within this material world, and whatever is most dear to oneself, one should offer that very thing to me. Such an offering qualifies one for eternal life. So this is how we have to do. So actually wait 1 second. That 11:27. This one 11:27:18. Bhuryapyabhaktopaahritam name toshaya kalpate gandho dhupah sumanaso deeponnadyam chakim punah. Even very opulent presentations do not satisfy me if they are offered by non-devotees, but I am pleased by any insignificant offering made by my loving devotees. And I am certainly most pleased when nice presentations of fragrant oil, incense, flowers and palatable foods are offered with love. So he doesn't deny that he will not take, opulent presentations. No, he said only patram pushpam, I'll give patram pushpam. So, not like that. That is just a chance for the lowest possible, what is that called in mathematics? LCM. Least common multiple. HCF is what? Highest common factor. Yeah. So, the baseline possibility is like at least this is affordable by anybody. One flower, some water, affordable by anybody. So, he is reaching out to the poorest person. Nobody is denied. But if I have the capability of something higher, I should. Alright, so we'll stop. Yeah, I told just now. Yeah, yeah. Yes. Samarpayami is first person. No, no, no. Not which is correct. Samarpayami means it's I am offering. It's first person. Samarpayetat must be offered here. Yet means you know that there is a Chaitanya Charitamrita verse on this. Vidhilin. It's called Vidhilin. Bhavet kriya vidhilin shei iha koy kartavya avashya e anyatha pratyavaya. So if you say the previous verse, there is this verse that is mentioned. Samarpayet is actually vidhilin in the Sanskrit grammar. Offering, yes. You see here, you see Adi 4.34, Anugrahaya bhaktanam manusham dehamashritaha bhajate tadrishi krida yah shrutva tatparo bhavet. This bhavet, samarpayet. So this eighth, that thing is called vidhilin. Bhavet, one must become. Sagurum eva abhigachet. That is one must. There is no, it's mandatory. So Krishna manifests his eternal human-like form and performs his pastimes to show mercy to the devotees. Having heard such pastimes, one should engage in service to him. And then, this is 10:33-36, quoted in Chaitanya Charitamrita. So the next verse, here it is explained. Bhavet kriya vidhilin shei iha koy kartavya avashya e anyatha pratyavaya. Here the use of the word bhavet, which is in the imperative mood, tells us that this certainly must be done. Non-compliance would be abandonment of duty. So, samarpayat means must. Samarpayami means I am doing it. This Vidhilin is this grammatical usage of the word in Sanskrit, which implies you must. There is no what is it called? Non-negotiable. Huh? Oh, fourth. Yes. So this is actually a very good verse. Yeah, thank you for pointing it out. Vidyatapo vitta vapurvaya kulai satam gunaishad bhirasattametarai smritau hatayam bhritamana durdrishaha stabdhana pashyanti hidhama bhuyasam. Yeah. Although the six qualities, education, austerity, wealth, beauty, youth and heritage, are for the highly elevated, one who is proud of possessing them becomes blind, and thus he loses his good sense and cannot appreciate the glories of great personalities. Yeah, that one. I always cannot find this verse. It's said in the Niti Shastra, but I cannot find it. Yeah, but when I look for it in Niti Shastra, I cannot find it. I don't know why. Maybe it's differently worded, or I don't know. It may be argued that since Daksha was very learned, wealthy and austere, and he had descended from a very exalted heritage, how could he be unnecessarily angry towards another? The answer is that when the qualities of good education, good parentage, beauty and sufficient wealth are misplaced in a person who is puffed up by all these possessions, they produce a very bad result. Milk is a very nice food, but when milk is touched by an envious serpent, it becomes poisonous. Similarly, material assets such as education, wealth, beauty, and good parentage are undoubtedly nice, but when they decorate persons of a malicious nature, then they act adversely. Another example given by Chanakya Pandit is that a serpent that has a jewel on its head is still fearful because it is a serpent. A serpent by nature is envious of other living entities, even though they may be faultless. When a serpent bites another creature, it is not necessarily because the other creature is at fault. It is the habit of the serpent to bite innocent creatures. Similarly, although Daksha was qualified by many material assets, because he was proud of his possessions and because he was envious, all those qualities were polluted. It is sometimes therefore detrimental for a person advancing in spiritual consciousness or Krishna consciousness to possess such material assets. Kunti Devi, while offering prayers to Krishna, addressed him as Akinchana Gochara, one who is easily approached by those who are bereft of all material acquisitions. Material exhaustion is an advantage for advancement in Krishna consciousness, although if one is conscious of his eternal relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one can utilize one's material assets such as great learning and beauty and exalted ancestry for the service of the Lord. Then such assets become glorious. In other words, unless one is Krishna conscious, all his material possessions are zero. But when this zero is by the side of the Supreme One, it at once increases in value to 10. Unless situated by the side of the Supreme One, zero is always zero. One may add 100 one may add 100 zeros, but the value will still remain zero. Unless one's material assets are used in Krishna consciousness, they may play havoc and degrade the possessor. Perfect for this class. So, oh. He did. Well, it turned out half bad. She immediately tried Karna and Karna came out, and that became a huge problem later on. I mean, those benedictions are honestly just a service. Just a service. Oh. So those are, how can anybody bless Radharani? But it is just like, it looks like a blessing, but actually it is his service for Radharani. You know. I think what was that blessing? Of course, actually Sun God himself received whatever that power from Radharani. I mean, Radharani is the original cook. You know, she can cook like anything. I mean, so if Sun God has any power to affect any cooking and empower others to cook, he got it only from Radharani. I mean, but he is offering that back to Radharani as a service, but of course externally as a benediction. Like Sandipani Muni, it is explained that he educated Krishna. Now, what can you educate Krishna? I mean, you know, the example is given that the water is taken from the ocean, evaporated cloud, rain, river back into the ocean. So it's just yeah, water offering to Ganga, Ganga's water offering to Ganga back again, and fire, one small light offering to the sun doesn't need fire, but it's all just gratitude. So here, about Durvasa Muni, this verse is there. Upayam kathayishyami tava vipra shrunushva tat ayam hi atma bhicharaste yatastam yahimachiram. Now, especially the last two lines. Sadhushu prahitam tejaha prahartuhu kurute shivam. O Brahmana, let me now advise you for your own protection. Please hear from me. By offending Maharaj Ambarish, you have acted with self-envy. Therefore, you should go to him immediately without a moment's delay. One's so-called prowess, when employed against the devotee, certainly harms him who employs it. Thus, it is the subject, not the object, who is harmed. So, what is that? Sadhushu prahitam tejah prahartuhu kurute shivam. So, right. Astro Truth, Vedic astrologer Sujoy Ghosh. Huh? No, he's asking a question. Srila Prabhupada said that we have fallen from the spiritual sky or Vaikuntha, Golok, due to our misuse of our little independence. So the question is, if we again reach there, we can fall down again. So, yeah, we have answered this quite many times. Yes, you can fall down again. We can fall down again. Technically, because our independence is still not taken away, but once bitten, twice shy. So we will be made to remember all the stupidity that we have started with, and how we ended up and how we suffered in the material world, so that serves like a lesson, so that we will not repeat that mistake. So that's why Maya's job, Krishna is so kind, he employs with Maya to regulate this soul and purify him to such an extent that he will have zero interest in material affairs. So even when one is becoming a devotee, there will be so many tests and trials and tribulations, and all these are meant to completely get a feeling of disgust towards this material world. So the naked form of the material world is shown to the devotee like that. Then he sees that everything is just useless, any endeavor here. So, and if we have any trace of desire, then we are not allowed there. We will put back here. So unless we are completely free, she will not allow us. Then having fully understood that, yes, then we will be reinstated. So that's why Krishna promises, Yad gatva nanivartante tad dhama paramam mama. Once you go there, you will never come back. Although technically we can come back. But we will be reformed to such an extent that we will not want to come back. Like Narad Muni remembers what he did previous life, and even in his previous life, Upabarhana, he remembered. So, and it is said that even in third canto that a child in the womb, he remembers past 100 lives. If he is fortunate, he will remember the past 100 lives, and he will cry very bitterly in the womb. Past 100 lives, just imagine what kind of things he will remember. So Krishna makes their memory, if he wants, he can revive that memory. So let we will stop here. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Nitai Gaur Premanande.